The show will begin in 5 minutes.
Level 7, turn left. Then turn right. The doors are closed. Do not even try. Do you hear voices? In this empty hole? Do you know sounds of this afternoon? The neighbors are eating dinner. The neighbors are watching TV. The neighbors behind the walls.
The show will begin in 4 minutes. The show will begin in 3 minutes. The show will begin in 2 minutes. The show will begin in 1 minute. And now, our feature presentation. Hey everyone, how are you doing this fine Monday evening? To those of you in the greater Boston area, happy Patriots Day. To those of you not in the greater Boston area or wherever Patriots Day is a recognized holiday, happy Monday. I had a pretty nice day. Took a break from constant YouTube video production because I'm a full week ahead from today, so I'm gonna have to get started by Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday is when I'll next have a chance to record some long form videos. The reason I wanted to get on here today is because I wanted to talk a little more about a video I did back in January that my experience tonight going out to dinner with my friends for one of their birthdays kind of proved me right and reminded me of a Aaron Clary video, something he said about restaurants as well. So, drop a like before we go any further. It would mean a lot to me. Though, if you think I'm being a little too negative, don't be afraid to let me know in the chat. I always appreciate the checks and balances. Your honest feedback means the world to me. Anyway, back in January, I did this video called I'm Done with Restaurants. In it, I told the story of how my friend who went to, I think it was a Five Guys that it was. Let's actually watch it. One of my friends went to Five Guys the other day and waited like 50 minutes for a shake. That's 50. Yes, it was Five Guys. I was able to get a refund for it as well, but it really got me thinking about just how glad I am that I'm planning to cook at home more. In fact, I would even go as far as say I'm going to make all the possible restaurant dishes that I can with what I can get from the supermarket with a little help from ChatGPT, just because probably for the price of about one or two. Wow, I used to do jump cuts whenever there was a longer pause like that. Well, that was back when I had CapCut before the TikTok ban took it away from me. I mean, yeah, I can actually install it on my computer again. It is back on the App Store, both for iPhone and Mac. The problem is, I would rather not do that because the reason that it is allowed right now, I'm going to guess, is because Apple and the other app stores' insurance companies are all saying, it's okay, we'll insure you. The damage won't be too bad if something happens. That, or they decide, screw it, we're just gonna do it, we don't need the insurance. But anyway, the point is, when I went to a restaurant that we shall not name here, the last time I went to this place was on my 27th birthday, over 15 months ago now. Over the course of late 2021, throughout 2022, and into a lot of 2023, and then my birthday in 2024, after which I have not been back there. I would get their cheese steak sub. Okay, early on, I just got one of their burgers and then a couple of other burger variants. And then towards the end of 2022, I decided to get the house cheesesteak sub instead because I can't make this at home very easily. I don't know how. Well, technically, I can figure out how. The problem is, it's going to take a lot of effort to. It's going to take a little more effort than just place a burger patty on the grill. Not the grill, the stove. Flip it after X minutes. Flip it again after X minutes. Repeat. So, the last time I had this was my 27th birthday in January of 2024. At some point in the last 15 months. I don't know if it was a different cook or if it was the ingredients and also the recipe. It honestly did not feel the same. Now, when I got home, my mom was trying to rationalize it away as, well, the first time I had a dish at a restaurant, I loved it. Then I got tired of it over time the more I ordered it. Well, I can prove this wrong because I actually need to dig out a photo of it from before. I wish I'd taken a photo so I could show you the before and after. Before being anywhere from Henrios year 13. No, I did not take a picture of it on my birthday. It's either Henrios year 12 slash 2023 or Henrios year 11. I really wish I'd taken a photo of it for proof so I could show you. Nothing. Well, I found one of the last times I was able to have the chicken bacon barbecue wrap that I was able to get at the movie theater before they instituted this thing called the slider bar, where they had a different menu from the 21 plus area, really to drive that exclusivity. Come on, I know I have it in here somewhere. But let's try October 2022. That I remember getting it that time. It was the day I went to see Black Adam, and then I went to here we go. Found it. Yes, there were fried onions on top of it. You know what? Let's see if I can bring it into here on OBS. Yeah, I should be. Nope, it's not letting me do that for the JPEG. Yeah, you're just gonna have to take my word for it. But yeah, something about the texture of the meat, the difference in the way the cheese melted, the absence of the crispy onions on top of it. The fact they didn't have to supply me with this special knife just to cut this particular sandwich. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up a picture of it on the website. Like to show you what it's supposed to look like because I don't remember it looking any different when I was looking at the menu just to get the price because I was planning my spending down to the penny. Okay, do I want to... You know, I'm just going to adjust it so that it can remain nameless, but you can see a picture of it. Now you can probably guess what place it is, but I'm not going to go around claiming it. So this is the official photo from the website, which shows that the crispy onions are no longer a thing on it. That was the least of its problems. Now, to be clear, it was still nice to go out and celebrate my friend's birthday today, which I decided it would be a nice change of pace, and I figured I was overdue for getting some material to talk about here on the channel. Like, I met two other friends of his, one from his instant gratification job, the other from a friend he made on Bumble BFF, which, for those of you who don't know, is Bumble's matching people for just friends, you know? Platonic friends. That was kind of the idea of it. And it was cool to meet the other two guys. I got to warn more people away from seeing Joker 2, as well as Gladiator 2 and Moana 2, because all three of those are garbage sequels from last year that should never have seen the light of day. Gladiator 2 being further proof Ridley Scott should have retired at least 5 years ago by now. Moana 2, proof that you shouldn't try converting a TV series story into a single movie. And Joker Folie à Deux proves that you shouldn't just try to, quote, own the chuds, or try to follow up a movie that had such a brilliant ending on its own. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I should probably stop thinking about these movies because it reminds me why I haven't been back to the regular movie theater since my birthday. There have been a couple of new releases that I've rented for $6. Some that I missed in 2024 when I was still going to the theater. Others from after my hiatus went into effect. Which I could keep going longer, to be perfectly honest, if it turns out Mission Impossible 8 isn't actually worth it after all. I mean, I'm sure it'll be visually impressive enough to justify seeing it on the big screen compared to my 43-inch TV up in Henry's Mojo Dojo dormitorio bedroom. Though I will say that if I had a more comfortable seat than this, I could actually have a movie take up more of my field of vision from sitting here compared to when I'm at the movie theater. So part of why the movie theater screen is still worth it for the most part is because the screen takes up a larger field of vision. Like, I am genuinely excited to see how The Martian on the Mugar Omni Theater screen compares to watching it on a TV or my phone. Man, that will be cool. But right now, I need to get back to this. One of the recent releases I actually rented last month, actually, and watched was Conclave, which I think was on. Hold on, I want to see what day it was. The Ides of March. The reason I bring that up is because of the Pope passing away less than 6 months after a movie about a Pope passing away and the electoral process beginning came out. Yeah, not the best timing for Focus Features. Yeah, it was a Best Picture nominee. Let me, here's the Wikipedia article. It won Best Film at the British Academy Film Awards, Golden Globe Awards for Best Screenplay, and Screen Actors Guild for Outstanding Performance by a Cast. And at the Oscars, it won, well, it was nominated for Best Picture, among others, and then won Best Adapted Screenplay. So it's based on a 2016 novel. So that initially came out on October 25th here in the US. So 6 months ago, this upcoming Friday. Yeah, I just think the timing is a little weird, is all with that. Like, obviously it's a tragedy. Oh, I just realized I may have accidentally shown off the entire plot for it. Sorry about that. But yeah, it was a good movie. I'd recommend giving it a watch. It's not the most exciting. What did I give it a 10 again? Out of 10? I know that I have it written down. I gave it a 7 out of 10. So it was good. A bit of a slow watch, but it had its moments. Honestly, I think the series The Young Pope and then its follow-up The New Pope was a much more exciting, like dramatically exciting look into the politics of the Catholic Church and the inner machinations that to many are an enigma, just like Patrick Starr's mind. Oh, also, I was at dinner and I saw this headline from the Babylon Bee. Dalai Lama quietly cancels scheduled meeting with J.D. Vance. For those of you who don't know, J.D. Vance was the last person to. Well, he probably wasn't the last person, like the last human being to see him there, see him in person. He was the last delegate that he met with. But yeah, he passed away just hours after meeting US Vice President J.D. Vance. That much is real. This is obviously satire. You know what? Let's read it. After the sad news broke that Pope Francis had passed away just hours after meeting the US Vice President, the Dalai Lama quietly canceled his scheduled meeting with J.D. Vance. Though the Dalai Lama's representatives said publicly that the timing of the cancellation was just a coincidence, sources close to the religious leader privately disclosed that the revered Tibetan Buddhist figure simply did not want to die. His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, realized he was double booked, said a spokesmonk. He was looking forward to meeting Vice President Vance and hopes to do so someday, but he forgot he was supposed to go to that one place and meet someone and talk about something. It's important and it has nothing to do with today's unfortunate news about Pope Francis. Vice President Vance's office confirmed the cancellation and expressed optimism that the meeting could be rescheduled. The Dalai Lama's representatives said they would totally get back to them. Oh, yeah, definitely, the spokesmonk continued. His Holiness the Dalai Lama will absolutely meet him at some point and is in no way fearing for his life. That would be silly. I mean, it's not as if it freaked us all out that the Pope died just hours after meeting him. That didn't even enter our minds. It's just a scheduling conflict. His Holiness just needs to wash his hair that day. Here's hoping they can eventually meet after His Holiness has lived for many, many more years. Please don't tell Vice President Vance where we are. Thank you. At publishing time, President Trump had made an urgent request to have Vice President Vance meet with Nancy Pelosi as soon as possible. Yeah, one of my friends that I showed this to at the table pointed out that the Dalai Lama would just reincarnate. Fun fact, the Dalai Lama is actually what the concept of the Avatar is based on. That's why the Avatar reincarnates, because they took the idea of the Dalai Lama and decided to have the Avatar be reincarnated with past lives and all that. But yeah, I think it was just a unfortunate coincidence that the Pope passed away just hours after meeting J.D. Vance. I read about how he became a Catholic in 2019, converted, and chose to practice Catholicism instead of Protestantism. think he actually converted after he married his wife. Hold on. J.D. Vance, religion. Yeah, August of 2019. Really? People also ask, what religion is Pope Francis? Then was J.D. Vance the Vatican? Yes, he was. I think Elon Musk is an atheist. Let's find out what Google says. He described himself as a, quote, cultural Christian, raised in the Anglican Church and was baptized. While he identifies with aspects of Christian culture, he also acknowledges that he doesn't believe in all the core supernatural claims of Christianity. Oh, so he probably just agrees with the Ten Commandments being a good basis for morality. And, what else is on here? So he identifies with aspects of Christian culture, so probably like the whole community aspect, meeting for church every Sunday, not just being for the sake of following the commandment of keeping holy the Sabbath, or as George Carlin would say, a place where people go to compare to clothing. God, you want to know a great stand-up comedy bit from him in regards to religion? The way he reduces the Ten Commandments down to 2. You know what? Maybe I should bring that up. Yeah, let's watch.
Hey, you. Now, folks, here's something else I got a problem with. The 10
Warning, this will have foul language.
Commandments. Here's my problem. Why are there 10? You don't need 10. I think the list of commandments was deliberately and artificially inflated to get it up to 10. It's a padded list. Here's what they did. About 5,000 years ago, a bunch of religious and political hustlers got together to try to figure out how to control people, how to keep them in line. They knew people were basically stupid and would believe anything they were told, so they announced that God had given them some commandments. Up on a mountain, when no one was around, God had given them the
Can't prove it didn't happen either.
10 Commandments. But let me ask you this. When they were sitting around making this shit up, why did they pick 10? Why 10? Why not 9 or 11? I'll tell you why. Because 10 sounds official.
Fun fact, people actually think that 9/11. I mean, whoa, I don't know if I can say it out loud here on YouTube. That the day that the month is 9 and the day in September 2001 that shall forever live in infamy was chosen because it was both the numbers that are before and after the number of 10, which you'll know George Carlin will explain more about that in a second.
10 sounds important. They knew if it was 11, people wouldn't take it seriously. So what, are you kidding me? The 11 Commandments? Get the fuck out of here. But 10 sounds important.
Actually, according to this one teacher I had who, I forget the name of the class, but it was one of the communication classes I took in my final semester as filler for the sake of just meeting the bare minimum to be a full-time student. But he said that the reason that a lot of lists on the internet are like an odd or random number that does not end in 5 or 0. The reason that a lot of those lists don't have, the reason that a lot of lists are like 7 of something or 6 reasons why, instead of 5 or 10, it's like the top 10. The reason it's like that is because, media literacy, that was the name of the class. So, media literacy class, I learned that most internet lists are ones that end in an odd number. It's because it's a lot more intriguing. Like, oh, why are there only this amount? Anyway, let's get back to the stand-up bit.
10 is the basis for the decimal system. It's a decade. It's a psychologically satisfying number. The top 10, the 10 most wanted, the 10 best dressed. So having 10 commandments was really a marketing decision. And
my media literacy teacher would disagree.
To me, it's clearly a bullshit list. It's a political document artificially inflated to sell better. I'm going to show you how you could reduce the number of commandments and come up with a list that's a little more workable and logical. We're going to start with the first 3, and I'll use the Roman Catholic version because those are the ones I was taught as a little boy. I am the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not have strange gods before me. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Thou shalt keep holy the Sabbath. Right off the bat, the first 3, pure bullshit.
Just gonna speed it up.
Sabbath day, Lord's name, strange gods. Spooky language. Spooky language. Designed to scare and control primitive people. In no way does superstitious nonsense like this apply to the lives of intelligent, civilized humans in the 21st century. You throw out the first 3 commandments, you're down to 7. Next, honor thy father and mother. Obedience, respect for authority. Just another name for controlling people. The truth is, obedience and respect should not be automatic. They should be earned. They should be based on the parent's performance. Parent's performance. Right?
I'd say later in life, that's not a bad approach. Like, if someone needs to go no contact with an abusive parent, then I'd say this one's kind of null and void. Like, at a certain point, I'd say assume they deserve honoring until they prove otherwise. Innocent until proven guilty.
Some parents deserve respect, most of them don't. Period. You're down to 6. Now, in the interest of logic, something religion is very uncomfortable with, we're going to jump around the list a little bit. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness. Stealing and lying. Well, actually, these 2 both prohibit the same kind of behavior. Dishonesty, stealing, and lying. So you don't need to...
Actually, stealing is taking someone's property that isn't yours. You know what? Let's actually look up the stealing legal definition. Alright, theft in law is a general term covering. Theft is defined as the physical removal of an object that is capable of being stolen without the consent of the owner and with the intention of depriving the owner of it permanently. What if someone just wants to borrow it and they give it back? I mean, what happens if you give it back? Is that still technically the definition of theft? Because the fact they have permanently in here, what, does that bring it down to a misdemeanor or something? Or whatever goes, whatever the range is. Look, last time I took legal studies was 10 years ago. I just try to remember what I do. The reason I took legal studies in high school was for the sake of being able to understand the court system if I ever had to sue anyone or anything like that. So that I could understand what a lawyer is telling me.
of them. Instead, you combine them and you call it thou shalt not be dishonest. And suddenly, you're down to 5. And as long as we're combining, I have 2 others that belong together. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Once again, these 2 prohibit the same kind of behavior, in this case, marital.
Okay, this one's gonna get a little... This part's gonna get a little graphic in terms of George's description, so you have been warned.
Infidelity, the difference is coveting takes place in the mind, and I don't think you should outlaw fantasizing about someone else's wife. Otherwise, what's a guy going to think about when he's waxing his carrot? But marital fidelity is a good idea, so we're going to keep the idea and call this one, thou shalt not be unfaithful. And suddenly, we're down to 4. But when you think about it, honesty and fidelity are really part of the same overall value. So in truth, you could combine the 2 honesty commandments with the 2 fidelity commandments and give them simpler language, positive language instead of negative, and call the whole thing, thou shalt always be honest and faithful, and we're down to 3.
I like the positive language. Instead of thou shalt not, it should be thou shalt do this.
Thou shalt, they're going away fast. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's goods. This one is just plain fucking stupid. Coveting your neighbor's goods is what keeps the economy going. All right? Your neighbor gets a vibrator that plays "Oh Come All You Faithful." You want to get one too. Coveting creates jobs. Leave it alone. Without coveting, you're down to 2 now.
Sorry, I need to...
The big honesty and fidelity commandment, and the one we haven't talked about yet, thou shalt not kill, murder, the 5th commandment. But when you think about it, religion has never really had a big problem with murder. Not really. More people have been killed in the name of God than for any other reason. All you have to do is look at Northern Ireland, the Middle East, Kashmir, the Inquisition, the Crusades, and the World Trade Center to see how seriously the religious folks take thou shalt not kill. The more devout they are, the more they see murder as being negotiable. It's negotiable. You know? It depends. It depends on who's doing the killing and who's getting killed. So, with all of this in mind, I leave you with my revised list of the 2 commandments. Thou shalt always be honest and faithful to the provider of thy nookie. And thou shalt try real hard not to kill anyone, unless, of course, they pray to a different invisible man from the one you pray to. 2 is all you need. Moses could have carried him down the hill in his fucking pocket. And if they had a list like that, I wouldn't mind those folks in Alabama putting it up on the courthouse wall. As long as they included 1 additional commandment, thou shalt keep thy religion to thyself.
Thank you very much. Have a good night. Yeah, that's always entertaining. George Carlin was a comedy genius. Well, anyway, I think I made my point. Getting back to the whole reason I decided to do this stream. I'm going to pull back up the video I decided to follow up on because tonight's experience with the lower caliber house cheesesteak sub kind of proved why I prefer cooking at home and making things my way. So what else did I say in this video? Dishes from a certain place or price of one meal delivery, I can get like a week's worth of it. I don't have the numbers in front of me, so I can't really do any numbers, but let's go with Five Guys for a minute. Now, last time I went there, that was the day I had to go Stop and Shop to get my business done because my mom ran late picking me up from the theater, so she covered the cost of it, but a bacon cheeseburger, it might have just been a regular cheeseburger, the regular size one, not the little one, a little fries, and I think I got a small drink, came out to $23.19. Now, that's easy for me to remember because of the Monsters, Inc. reference, but also, man, for that kind of money, for a little more, I could actually buy a whole week's worth of burgers from Star Market because $12 each for an 8-pack of, I have 4-pack each of pre-shaped burger patties. That's $23.98, so that's already more, but you get 8-pack. Today I actually picked up a 4-pack of Wahlburgers branded pre-shaped burger patties. Actually, I noticed that I could have gotten a 6-pack of this 1/3 pound burger patties for $1 less. That would have been in the freezer aisle. The reason I wanted the refrigerated ones was that I could chop up the the beef ahead of time and grill it on the cook it on the stove, and then drain the liquid and then put it on top of the pizza so I can make a barbecue cheeseburger pizza I've been meaning to make, but I haven't gotten around to yet. I also bought a tray of chicken nuggets so that I could make buffalo chicken pizza or barbecue chicken pizza if I run out of buffalo sauce. Yeah, I decided I didn't want to buy another bottle of regular pizza sauce just yet. And I thought I'd get a little creative with my pizzas after I do the last thing I plan on going out for this week, therapy on Wednesday. So my initial plan for this week was to only go out for Martian at the museum, and then therapy the following morning, and then back home, and I wouldn't have to leave for anywhere until the instant gratification job on Monday, unless I choose to, unless I need something from Star Market without realizing it, which I want to go at least another week before I go and buy more groceries. The reason I went today was because I wanted to do my first time to walk in a while and actually exercise instead of just sitting around. So anyway, let's get back to my video. Patties. Then you factor in $2 for an 8-pack of store brand buns, about $3 for a 16-pack of store brand cheese slices, and then $3.50 for a Oh, it's an even better price when you make your own buns. Bag of store brand French fries. Divide that by 8, and each individual one comes out to say $3.50. Let's say about $4.50 for the total for the cheese, and then about $6 or $7 per meal for a grand total of for that maybe 8 when you factor in sparkling water instead of soda. But yeah, you get a much better deal. I make my own lemonade as well now. Yeah, I drank soda for the first time, well, second time this month, but let's just say I've had more soda this month than I have in the last 3. Over a week's worth of dinner. Of course, the trade-off is you do have to prepare it yourself, but that's a small price to pay for salvation. When it comes to a milkshake, like my friend had, hey, if you already have a blender, all you gotta do is buy some ice cream and milk, maybe whatever other mix-ins you want, and it'll probably not last long term. You could probably make the same size shakes about, each one would cost a lot less. So I actually tried making everything from scratch for a time during the summer of 2023. I'd use ChatGPT to come up with different recipes, and then I would get the raw materials and then go from there. Yeah, it was a little time consuming, but it was worth it to save some money. Plus, I can use the time to listen to my audiobook because I think I may have talked about it before. There's this clip of Andrew Tate out there where he rages against cooking. So in it, he goes like, "You're going to spend time preparing food." Now, you know what? I'm going to show you that clip.
You're going to spend time preparing food? Now, actually, think about this for a second. If you're broke, if you're not a millionaire, the last thing you should be doing with your time is cooking. I can't think of a lower ROI activity than walking to the fridge, getting out some ingredients. Ooh, an onion. Only get the onion. I'm gonna start cooking. Fridge, ooh, an onion, and some lettuce. Now, get a knife. Get my knife.
Whoa, I think I am making YouTube work a little too hard with the playback speed. Just go back to normal for this one. The reason I sped up the George Carlin was to prevent possible copyright issues.
Cut my onion. Start to cut my onion. You're broke! You're fucking poor! You can get rotisserie chicken for $5. Boom! Chicken, bang, eat, bang, back to work. You can fucking do a million things. You can go for a run. You can get in shape. The time you spent cooking, if you dedicated to kickboxing, you could have got paid from kickboxing or piano. You could fucking be a traveling piano man with the time you've wasted cutting fucking onions. If you're broke, there is zero reason why you should ever prepare a meal.
Respectfully disagree. If you're broke, you should only prepare meals. Or very occasionally go out on special events like I did tonight for my friend's birthday. That is all I have to say about that. Anyway, let's get back to my video. think about it. The last thing you should do as a person who, if you're poor, is prepare a meal. And he goes on about that and he calls cooking, quote, a waste of your human time. And he also says that a real man has a woman who cooks for him, where he's like... That wasn't in the clip I was able to find. This, it actually goes on a bit longer to show that... Oh, this is the comment I wrote. Okay, but if you manage the time well, you can cook quickly and listen to something educational to enhance your knowledge while your hands are busy cooking. Food for thought. Put this on repeat while I cook. You left the fridge door open. I watch this every day, no joke. Well, if you want to see the rest of my thoughts on cooking at home from 3 months ago, that tonight kind of proved my point. Not just because the cost of my bill was about $38 after the tip. Because as I said in my video about tipping, full service servers should still be tipped for now, just because they make a lower minimum wage. So I think it's like a single digit amount, $4 or $5 an hour. Like a fraction of regular minimum wage. Because they're expected to be tipped. Honestly, I would not be against just having that factored into the cost of a meal from the get-go. I swear it's a psychological trick just to make people feel like it's not as expensive as it is, but then that makes you do all the work. It makes you do all the work to actually figure out the tip. Yes, you can choose a you can make a choice on the tips. You can make, say, you can put in as little as 15% or as high as 25%. Or however high you want to go. Honestly, I would be more than happy to just pay the price, whatever it is, and not have to worry about it. Like, if the total for my stuff came out to the short of $38 that it was with the tip factored in when it was just the food itself, I would not be opposed to that. Well, it's not just the food that you're paying for. You're paying for the people to prepare it. That's why the cost of restaurant food is what it is. But anyway, I don't think I'm going to go out of my way to go back there for their house cheesesteak sub because of how it compares to the way it was before. I have officially experienced a decline in the exact same dish that I usually get at a restaurant. I have officially seen it go from being really good and having that being really thick to being shrunk down. They overly simplified the recipe. It just didn't feel the same. I know for a fact that it was not the same. I don't care what my mom says about my perception or anything like that. The truth is, it was not the same. Clearly, they changed the recipe to cut costs. I don't have the records right now to go back and look and see if the price is still the same or not. And frankly, I think I'm just going to try making my own in the future. Yeah, now I have to decide. Now I'm curious to see what changes when I go to the movie theater for the first time in 4.5 months in terms of their food. Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up here for the stream. I just wanted to vent about all that. I also wanted to say that it is possible to make new friends. Apparently, Bumble BFF is a pretty good way to find friends. I mean, I know it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle to find someone who doesn't drink if I want to do that. Whether it's using it for dating or the BFF feature. I know it's going to be a bit more of an uphill battle to find someone who shares my views on drinking or mimics my behavior of just not drinking alcohol personally. It's going to be even more difficult to find someone who shares my stance on not enabling it and not encouraging it and going out of your way to discourage it where possible. I know it's not really a popular position, but I stand by it. I was able to hold it in for the most part. Yeah, not the most part. Pretty much all throughout. Because my friend whose birthday it was, and one of my other friends, they drank alcohol there. I did not give them a hard time about it because it was not something that I organized or was paying for. Therefore, I just reminded myself that of that, and I did not interfere. Now, if it was something I organized, I would have given them a hard time because they know. They know my expectations, they know my preference. And when it's their thing, I'm not going to try forcing my way. I'm either going to just tag along, just be along for the ride, as I told myself. Or if I really feel that strongly, I would have just not come. But at a certain point, you have to find what you're willing to accept when you have personal beliefs like that, where you have to find what you're willing to put up with. Personally, they're grandfathered in for the most part on account of the fact that I've known them since elementary school and high school, respectively. But I'll admit, for bringing anyone new in, I would much rather just bring in new people who share my view on drinking if I bring in anyone new. I guess I still have to find the line for what I can deal with. And of course, if they're willing to respect boundaries, like what I said that Sick Again in that Slate article should have done. So I think I'm going to end it here for real this time. The stream, that is. If you made it to the end, be sure to give it a like whether you're watching this on the replay or not. Subscribe for daily videos. I'll see you soon.